Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Legends Television, hosted by yours truly, Evans Ginsberg, as well co-hosted by Steve Ludwig. Mr. Evans Ginsberg has stacked the card for you today. We have indie promoters, we have wrestlers, we have sports psychiatrist Davis Reese. We also have, for the lovely main event, the Tina Turner Revenue and Suzette Dorsey. But first, let's get to our first match. The following is a six-way match scheduled for one fall of entertainment. Making their way to the ring, hailing from Virgin Isles, he is the First State Championship Wrestling General Manager, Sir The Styles! And his opponent, hailing from Islip, New York, promoter and SWA, Mr. Dennis John! And introducing the third contestant, hailing from Greenwood, Delaware. He weighed in tonight at 240 pounds, Dirty Sonny Deeds. And the fifth competitor, hailing from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He weighed in tonight at 260 pounds, now residing in Tijuana, Mexico. He is the Steel City Sinner, Carlos Suave. Introducing the sixth competitor, hailing from Brooklyn, New York, Mr. Evans Ginsberg! Ladies and gentlemen, at the sound of the bell, referee Steve Ludwig will interview and get this match underway. Have a good night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another edition of Legends TV with the greatest intro we've ever had from Harold O'Hart. So, folks, we are joined by a plethora of wrestlers today, and, of course, my co-host, Steve Ludwig. And, Steve, tell us what's been happening with classic pop culture radio.
Well, thanks, Evan. First of all, maybe we could have those intros again. I didn't get all the names.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. At planetludwig.com, we have some very cool guests coming up. I'm a big Beatles fan. I have George Harrison's sister. She wrote a book about George. She's coming on the show soon. I have May Pang, who was the companion of John Lennon for close to 2 years. She'll be coming on the show. Just a lot of fun pop culture kind of people.
All the context clues tell me you're a Beatles fan. I could be wrong.
Slightly. I might have bought one or two of their records. You know, one-hit wonders, but they're good.
There you go. And, guys, tell us a little about what's happening with 1CW. Long trip today, huh?
Long trip, yeah. Thank you for asking. And we got here safe and sound, so it was a good trip. We had a lot of fun. Yeah, First State Championship Wrestling. For those of you who have heard of us, thank you for tuning in. And for those of you who haven't, I encourage you to listen because we have an excellent product. In my opinion, the best promotion in Delaware. We've been running shows down there for over 4 years now. And I personally have been in the wrestling business over 20 years. And I've met hundreds, if not thousands, of promoters. And I can honestly say this is one of the best run promotions I've ever been involved with. I spent 4 years as a manager in 1CW, basically trying to destroy them. Until recently when I decided to come on board with my older brother, the owner, Sean Hardy, and join him as the general manager because I now see his vision. I now see what he has worked 4 years to put together, and it is an amazing product. We have a great base of local talent, which we mix in all the time with WWE legends, superstars. In fact, October 25th, fresh out of the WWE, we have Brodus Clay coming in.
Wow.
It's just, like I said, if you haven't heard of 1CW, I encourage you to check it out. It's a very, very good product all around. Like I said, local talent, and we're always bringing in just guys that you are going to pop for. And all together, we got guys like Crazy Shay. If you have not heard of Crazy Shay, you look him up right now because this man puts on one heck of a match for everybody. We got a lot going on. We just opened the training center, which these two guys will tell you about in a little bit. That's huge news for us recently. And our next show next Saturday, we're featuring two Hall of Famers, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Tony Atlas, and we're also going to bring in former WWE superstar, The Patriot. So that's a stacked card for next Saturday.
And introduce your crew here.
Yeah, this is Dirty Sonny Deeds. He is officially now our head trainer at the 1CW Training Center. And this is currently a student and soon to be, I think, a force in 1CW, the Steel City Sinner. And this man right here is a prime example of somebody who's paid his dues. He has been in security. He has been in ring crew. In fact, about a year ago, I was briefly suspended from First State Championship Wrestling. This man personally picked me up and threw me out the back door. And quite frankly, I hope I don't get into a run-in with him once he gets himself through training and in the ring.
And Sonny, tell us what makes a good school, because there's so many schools.
You have to have, there's just so many elements, but the students is actually what makes it. You got to have the right combination of heart, dedication. Pro wrestling is not an easy business. You know, we have, you occasionally will have people that will stop in just to check it out, just to, you know, see if they've got what it takes, and quite often they don't. But we've got a good crop of guys coming through right now, and as he said, I just took the reins as the head trainer, and I'm excited. This is a new school that's opening up, a good opportunity for guys and gals in the area that have wanted to get into professional wrestling, whether as a wrestler, manager, referee, what have you. And this is another opportunity for them to get a step closer to their dream.
And Carlos, as a student who's been through this school, what's your take on the school?
Just starting, as far as the training aspect of it, it's a completely different light shed on it than what I had before, being security, being ring crew. I had the opportunity for 4 years now to sit backstage and talk to these guys. But to be there now and actually go through what they went through, it's a completely different light, and I love it.
There you go.
Wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's an endorsement. And Dennis John, tell us what's been happening with SWA.
Well, Sylvic Wrestling Alliance has a show coming up called On Frozen Ground right here in Deer Park on November 15th. We had the first match announced. That's our undefeated tag team, the Punkabillies. That's Bam Bam and Trent. They've been running roughshod over every team we put in front of them, and they're going to be facing a team called the Juicy Product. They're well known on the indie scene. They are the current WSU, NYWC, CZW, and FIP tag team champions. They're going to be the toughest test for the Punkabillies so far. And just talking to Bam Bam and Trent, they are looking forward to the opportunity to prove they are what they say they are, and that's the best tag team right now in SWA. Also announced we have former ECW mainstay Jason Knight coming down. And if
Jason's awesome.
If you guys want to come down and find out what he's going to be up to at the show, you never leave an SWA show disappointed. You come down and you see what he's going to be up to. It's going to be a great show.
You and Jerry Werner from SWA are very calm. Usually promoters are angry. they want to kill the other promoter. You're very calm.
These guys have been great the whole time, you know. So, yeah, if you're a hardcore fan, a wrestling purist, or a casual fan, there's always something for everybody at an SWA show, and On Frozen Ground is going to be no different.
So let's talk about indie wrestling in general. I've been around it forever. I was associate producer on The Wrestler, and we went to indie shows pretty much every weekend for a good 6 months in preparation for the film. And I've been involved with indie wrestling for a good 20 years. And some of the flaws that I see are you have too many kids, ticket sellers, okay? And you have 17 matches, and the cards are 4 hours, and a lot of the wrestlers don't have psychology. 8 seconds into the match, it's high spot, high spot, high spot. The kid doesn't sell for the other kid, etc. So on. What are some of the flaws that are preventing promotions from getting to that next level?
I think it starts with the training centers, the schools. Some of these guys are showing up on shows and don't have the proper training, so that's why you see the lack of psychology and the high spots right from the
Lack of
get-go.
ring gear. Some of them look like kids.
Exactly, they came right off the street and stepped right into the ring.
And to, not to cut you off, but to touch on something you said earlier, not all promoters are like Sean Hardy and this man right here. Some people, like you said, just push the tickets through the kids and put people in the ring that really shouldn't be there.
I have seen, I'm not gonna blame the guilty, but I have seen steel cages been set up at 12:30 in the morning, and with named guys in it, no less. And years later, I can't even remember what the match was because you're so numb by 12:30 in the morning, having sat through 17 matches. You know, it's really a disservice to the fans, especially if there's kids in the audience and the parents are like, I have to get out of here. I have to get my kid home for, it's late already.
I agree 100%. I personally, and we try to keep 3 hours or less, because after that, people, like you said, they want to get their kids home. Right. There's a certain point where you're leading up to the main event, and if you got them there too long, the main event isn't fun for them. So, yeah, I agree. It is important to keep it, I say, in my opinion, 3 hours or less.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I think and again, we'll fall back on the promoters. I mean, I know there's a lot of companies out there that are started just so the promoter can shine himself. And that's when you run into these promotions that give legitimate companies a bad name. And so, I mean, that's a big problem.
So my question would be, and this is not a legal question, this is a common sense question. If you have ticket sellers who are 17-year-old kids or whatever, who really shouldn't be in there sometimes, I mean, couldn't somebody legitimately get hurt badly?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
most definitely.
Yes.
The injuries are real.
Oh, yeah.
Our lives are in each other's hands.
Yeah, so why would you put
Literally.
it in the hands of a 17-year-old?
I wouldn't.
They can't. It's about themselves.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
It's a huge problem in our business as far as I'm concerned.
So what are your goals going, down the road? I see a lot of internet pay-per-views which generate more income. I mean, where would you like to see both of these promotions?
You can go ahead.
Okay, and that's an excellent question. Like I said, we just got our training center rolling. So of course we have some big plans for next year, which I can't disclose right now. But we do have
Next year's like 90 days from now.
It's close, yeah. It's close, but it's still not something like I'm willing to disclose
right
now or to discuss. But I can say this: we have big plans for next year. We want to double, triple, quadruple the size of our audience, and we have a plan by do that. And that's by doing something you don't see a lot in this business these days: working together with other people and bringing. Bring different promoters, different talent together so we can get to the next level. And the training center is a huge part of that.
Okay. And Dennis?
But
As far as SWA goes, from what you know about Jerry Warner, is we always like to keep people guessing about what our next move is going to be.
Okay.
And we always felt that building a good company is always building it, block by block, bringing in the better talent, the most compelling storylines. And Jerry and I always have something in the works. So you're going to see a lot of big things coming from SWA in the next year or two.
Since I have various promoters sitting here, from a fan's point of view, I'm going to give you guys some advice, and you could take it or not take it. Everybody and his mother can't be on the mic all night. Some of these guys cannot talk. A lot of times the sound is distorted. You don't even understand what they're saying. And after a while, it just drags things out too long. Q-Ball Carmichael was here, and he promoted for a long time also. He said an ideal wrestling card is 2 hours and 20 minutes. And he says, get the fans in, get them out, good stories, 1 or 2 interviews, 1 or 2 angles, and, just keep it smooth and easy, because it's overkill sometimes. I remember results from matches 40 years ago, and I don't remember sometimes the next night when I go to an indie show. And this is no reflection on you guys. I mean, I've been to the SWA. I enjoy it. But.
Sure. And yeah, when you're talking Q-Ball Carmichael, you're talking one of the best minds in the business. So, and I know personally of shows, he's done entire shows with 6 guys.
Right.
Three singles matches, a battle royal, and a 6-man tag at the end. And like you said, I'm sure he kept it to 220. And there are certain people that shouldn't be on the mic. I know it's the sound system or not, it's something you have to listen to. If the sound is distorted, you have to speak louder. If there's something wrong with the mic, you have to put it down and yell louder. A lot of people aren't trained in that or don't hear it or listen for it. But back to your point, there should be a very limited amount of people that touch the microphone during a show because it loses people.
Absolutely.
It's not the WWE. People don't want to see a 20-minute promo.
And that goes back to what he said earlier. It's all in the training.
I don't want to see Triple H do a 20-minute promo. It's the same 20-minute promo. It's like, and Steve's a big wrestling
But he
fan.
can
I'm
spit
sure you
water
have
very well.
questions. What's that?
He can spit water with the best of them.
There you go.
You know, I always love to ask these behind-the-scenes questions. Maybe Carlos can answer this with your background. A 7:30 bell time. What time do you guys start setting up the ring? I just love to know the mechanism
7:30.
behind the scenes. 7:30 p.m. What time would you guys be there
We're
setting up
normally
the ring? and all?
setting up about 2.
And how long does it get to set up the ring and things like this?
Ring, guardrails, chairs, you're looking at about 2.5 to 3 hours. But that gives us enough cushion for the wrestlers to get there and get them set up in the locker room. Plus, if we have any issues setting up the ring, it gives us a chance to get everything fixed before the show.
I always love to know the backstage stuff, Evan.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Most definitely.
So, looking back at your promotions, what do you consider some of the highlights?
For me personally, like I said, just the professionalism backstage. There's no drama in our locker room at all, and that's something that I love. I love that our roster is continually turning over. We're always bringing in new people. We're always bringing in legends, Hall of Famers, and superstars, and we keep that mix with our local base of talent also. Like I said, you know, I can't announce all our future plans, but as I said earlier, we have Brodus Clay coming on October 25th. We have Tony Atlas and Greg the Hammer Valentine coming next Saturday to Milford, Delaware on the 13th. So, you know, we always, the mix and everything in the locker room and everything we put together as our product, it is literally one of the best promotions I've ever worked for in the independent scene, and I absolutely love it.
You're a good talker. There are indie guys who can't talk. You're a good talker.
But it sounds good. But we've got proof to back it up, too.
Well, then come on out and we'll.
Oh, no, I believe everything he's saying.
We're glad to back it up.
We don't call him Sir Style for nothing.
That's right.
They call me lots of things, by the way.
And Dennis, when you look back at the SWA's history, what are some of the highlights?
One of the biggest highlights is SWA has gone on levels. It started as a backyard promotion, and then it was a pre-show promotion for another fed, and now we've evolved into our own, you know, I guess you could say big-time indie fed. We're one of the charter indie feds on the Long Island scene. To go from the backyard promotion they were to where we are now, we have guys come through like Necro Butcher and Colt Cabana, and now we have Jason Knight.
I love Necro Butcher. He's a good guy.
Necro Butcher's crazy.
For somebody
He's
who
a great
mutilates
guy.
himself for a living, he's a very sensitive, quiet guy, right?
Yeah, he's a real nice fellow. Even before he knew who I was, he was very approachable, introduced himself by his real name. He was a real good guy.
Dylan, like Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not his real name?
Necro?
Yeah, Necro
It's not on the
I
birth
thought it was on the
certificate.
birth certificate.
Yeah.
See how naive I am about these things?
So, guys, we're going to take a minute to tell the people how they could get in touch with you, any websites, social media, or any upcoming shows, anything you want to plug.
Sonny, can you give them all our websites? And there is a website for the training center, correct?
No.
Not yet. No,
Not yet.
They haven't got that set
Okay,
up yet.
so-
I mean,
so-
we're the
Well, that was
training
quick.
center-
Yeah, okay.
So we currently have First State Championship Wrestling on Facebook, and then I would say other than that, there is a website.
There is a website.
I gotta say, to be honest, it's not used much, but it is updated for every show. And you can also go ahead and check out the page of 1CW owner and CEO Sean Hardy, and that is probably where you'll get your most updated information.
But for Sean, you're going to look for Stevie Ray Styles on Facebook.
That's correct. Thank you.
And Dennis?
For us, you're going to go to our website. That's swarevolution.com. All the interviews that Harold does, clips and former show matches, and all the upcoming promos and the show information is always there. You can give the Suffolk Wrestling Alliance a like on Facebook. All the upcoming shows and promotions will be there as well.
Okay. And Steve, I see you have a lot of stuff with you.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I brought, throughout the weeks we mentioned your book, my book, things like this. So I thought I'd just take a minute and show everyone what we've been talking about here. Evan, you have 2 books that you've written. This one, both great. I read Apartment 4B, like in Brooklyn. What, Tommy? I'm sorry. How's this? There we go. That's even better. Cover the face. Evan's 2 books, so we can get these on Legends Radio.
You can go to
Yeah.
legendsradio.net. There's a store.
Right, and in addition to The Wrestler, the associate producer of that. You produced this really excellent documentary, Teresa Sario Alive Again.
Right, we just got through 9/11 again, and this is about wounded warriors, and it's very powerful. Gary Sinise is in the film.
And finally, you have 3 products. I just have my little book here. I had open heart surgery a few years ago, so I did a lighthearted, pun intended, lighthearted view of it. And you can get this at planetludwig.com, where special price to celebrate our 2nd anniversary on the air. So.
And speaking of open heart surgery, Bobby Lombardi, who was on the show a few weeks back, he just went through that yesterday, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Bobby's been through a lot lately. Bobby from the Doghouse. And folks, when we come back, we're going to have sports psychiatrist David Reese, and he's here for the specific reason to figure out what that hat is all about.
If you tell him to call me, I can get him some work.
Definitely. So folks, we'll be right back with more of Legends TV. Don't you dare go anywhere. For nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of the Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Lano, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
I'm from Brooklyn, baby. Don't forget the gravy. We are soldiers.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio. For nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of the Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Lano, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
I'm from Brooklyn, baby. Don't forget the gravy. We are soldiers.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And we are honored to be joined by Dr. David Reese, sports psychiatrist. And you've had a busy week, I'm sure, between Ray Rice and Sean O'Hare of WWE committing suicide. And we're going to address both these issues today. But before we do that, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm a psychiatrist. Started out, my first sports medicine was actually in medical school at Northwestern, where I did a study on the losing season and psychology of the players.
Okay.
Those were the days where our motto was another year, another victory.
What about the psychology of the fans? We lost.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
That's a whole different issue, and that's
Okay.
what I've been working with more with the wrestling industry. Is I've never been in the ring, but I study the psychology of the fan and understanding what makes the fan excited, what makes the fan bored, and how to get it on.
Okay, okay. So everybody's been talking about Ray Rice and the domestic abuse issue, which we have seen in wrestling, of course, also. What's your take on that? Did the NFL do the right thing, the wrong thing?
I don't think anyone could say the NFL did the right thing.
Of course.
You know, I'm asked a lot, does this happen more often among professional athletes? No one really knows, to tell the truth, because obviously it's covered up a lot in sports, but it's also covered up in real life. You know, in my clinical practice, I'd say 90% of the abused people I see never reported it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't believe any of the statistics either way. But there's no doubt that within sports you're dealing with violence to begin with. You're dealing with people who are trained to be violent. And not only are there some who don't know where to draw the line, but then you have the issues of pain medications, steroids, head injuries, which make impulsivity more easy to come about, and sometimes to just have a moment of a perfect storm or just a bad personality.
Wow. And tonight, Floyd Mayweather is fighting, and he's had issues with this as well. And he's going to fill an arena and have a worldwide audience, and many of these people will be cheering him on. What's your take on the fans' responsibility?
It's a real tough call because, you know, when you're watching a TV show or a movie, generally, you know, unless you really follow TMZ, you don't know the background of the actors you're seeing. Sports world, it's a lot more out there. So on one hand, there's a validity to separate the product that's on the air and the entertainment from the real person. On the other hand, there's a responsibility not to make heroes out of people who are far from heroes. It's a tough line to walk, but both have validity.
We have a long trip here, and Steve and I were talking in the car. John Lennon, Steve's a huge Beatles fan, as we mentioned. John Lennon had issues with domestic abuse, and I'm a huge James Brown fan, and he did as well. And, you know, I've walked down the street wearing James Brown T-shirts. Does that make me part of the problem? Should you disassociate the action from the celebrity? Should you not support the celebrity? What's your take on that?
You know, I think there's a difference between supporting the celebrity as an artist and supporting the celebrity as a role model.
Right.
And I think if you can maintain a boundary between that, that can be done quite reasonably. No one's perfect, and there are some things that are unforgivable. There are some things that people may realize and be working on and that deserves support. But there are times that you just have to separate. This is personal, and we don't go into the personal lives of the bus driver or the guy who's, or woman who's working in any other position. And sometimes it's not relevant. But when you're on a stage where you're playing to the public and you're going to be made a hero, especially for kids, it is a different level of responsibility.
So the NFL suspended Rice, and there are other players in the NFL who have had convictions of, I believe, of spousal abuse or domestic abuse, and they're still playing. So is that about, we never saw the video? I mean, what's your take on that?
I think it's that times have changed. First, we weren't as aware of some of these issues, and we didn't have the social media which made the issues universal within milliseconds of it happening. So the leagues, to some extent, have their head in the sand. To some extent, don't know how to deal with it. If you took a look at every player in every sport, you'd probably lose 3/4 of every team if you weeded out everybody who had some problems. So where do you draw the line? And no one's quite clear where to draw the line. And then when you have a high-profile case, it's like, well, what do we do? Let's do something. But as soon as you do something, then you're saying the league does have a moral responsibility, and then you can get questioned on how far you go with that.
Doctor, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You mentioned how the fans would react to Mayweather, and we were talking about Ray Rice. And how do you feel about what the Ravens owner said this week about how he just heard what he wanted to hear, and that was his mistake? And I feel like the fans of the Mayweather fight could have that same mentality. What do you think of that?
I think at times that's true. Is it true in that particular case? I can't read his mind.
Fair enough.
None of us can. But at times you can really separate it out and just see the figure who's larger than life and put the other stuff aside or just go into denial. If you really look at it, our society's in denial about 90% of the crap that goes on.
Yeah, I agree. Thank
What,
you.
yeah, Doctor, what do you make of the fans' mentality that, okay, with what Ray Rice did with his personal life, and yet then they wear the Ray Rice jerseys, and boy, he's a rotten guy, but boy, can he run with a football.
Michael Vick?
Michael Vick.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
There's in most fans' minds, there's one thing negate the other, and that kind of like balances out. Like, oh, he's a bad guy, but he's a good guy because he can run with the ball.
I think in most fans' minds, it's not to the same extent as the athletes, but once the whistle blows, you're watching the game, and they're not real people. They're athletes. They're to some extent on a pedestal, but to some extent really dehumanized. So people lose track of who the human being is, both good or bad, and they're dealing with something different. And then they project onto it all their personal issues, and we can get into that, but both on the good and the bad side, and it can get really crazy.
Are you able to do that as a fan? Or just because you're so into it, you say, no matter what this guy does on the field, he's got some problems?
There are limits. There are certain limits I won't cross. There are certain limits I will. And I'm not saying I have the right answer where that boundary is, but I have my own personal ideas of, when someone's done certain things and shows no remorse, I can't watch. On the other hand, there are times, I'm not watching this as a morality play. I'm not watching him as a role model or her. And I don't know the background of the actors I'm watching on TV or the movies either.
Mm-hmm. And there is that gray area, too. Sometimes.
As we have two wrestling promoters here, I've seen many, many wrestling shows where the face hits the evil female valet and the dateless wonders in the audience pop. And is this perpetuating violence against women, or can wrestling fans actually say, oh, it's just a show and not...
Yeah, I would say in at least 43 states they can differentiate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we of course trust our fans to know we're entertaining them. and that no one would in any of, well, not just our leagues, but anyone in our sport would condone domestic violence. So we trust our fans to know that's entertainment.
That would also fall in the category, a lot of wrestling shows you watch says, don't try this at home right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That would fall into that category as well. You know, don't do these crazy moves at home, don't hit your brother and sister with chairs. If you're a big burly guy, don't hit a woman. You know what I
Right,
mean?
that's
So
right.
it's pretty much in the same category.
I think that also brings up something where wrestling is very different from the fans' point of view and from the wrestler's point of view. And sure, there's a crossover to MMA or boxing, but it's different because most of the fans know that you're really protecting each other while you're out there. And as much as there's real pain, there's real injury, we surely know that also. There's nothing fake about that. But you have a responsibility to protect the person you're with, not like New Orleans where they put a bounty on the other team. So there's a real difference. Now, some fans don't know that boundary, and that can be dangerous for those.
And you still have that mixture at some of the shows. Some of the older fans in the audience, you kind of see them sort of take offense when something like that happens. But today's fans actually get it. They know that it's a performance and whatnot, and it's just a mixture. I mean, I think it all depends on the generation of fans that are watching it and the mentality of today.
And it's similar to what I'm asked a lot about video games, the violent video games. You know, you take a kid who's maybe a little bit paranoid, has some mental health issues, that's real dangerous. But you take the average, reasonably adjusted person, they know it's a game, and they know that this is fantasy, so I don't do it in real life.
That's society in general, really.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
You know what the #1 theme is in the history of motion pictures? Revenge. I've watched 5,000 action movies. I've never gone out and killed anybody because I realize it's a movie, but it could set somebody else off who's, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who would really want to be friends with James Bond?
from afar.
He's got some cool gadgets.
Cool gadgets, but as sociopathic as they come.
And one of the things that the wrestling community has been discussing this week is the suicide of Sean O'Hare, who was formerly in WWE, and Mike Awesome killed himself. My friend, Larry Sweeney, was with Ring of Honor, which was heartbreaking. And what is your take on suicides in pro wrestling?
You know, there are a couple of issues. One issue is there's some people who have chronic problems with depression, and that needs to be
Larry
addressed
Sweeney was
in one way.
bipolar.
There's the other issue of people who may not have a classical depression, but have a perfect, horrible storm hit at the wrong time. And it may be a combination of some depression, personal issues. You know, do you know a wrestler who isn't in chronic pain who's been in the business, or a football player who's been in the business for more than a year who isn't in chronic pain, whether they're using prescribed medications, illicit medications, steroids, and the whole issue of head injury not only makes people more vulnerable to being impulsive, but makes medications work differently and actually adds the impulsivity. So you can have someone who the day before would not even have thought of acting that way. 15 minutes later would have thought it was crazy, but if no one was there to stop them at that moment, they're gone, and it's tragic.
I've had 4 friends kill themselves over the years, and you always feel, I woulda, coulda, shoulda done more, and it's a very hard thing to deal with. And we were on the radio the other day with Sir Mo and Oscar from Intermission on their radio show, and you're putting it out there, and they're putting it out there, that this is an issue in the wrestling community.
And it goes down, you know, we talk about the pro athletes, but it really goes down to the school level. In my clinical practice, I'll see people who are, and it's mostly men, but women too, who are construction workers, cops, but you talk to them, and they were college athletes, and they went through some of the same stuff. They have some head injury issues, they have some of the same issues, and their vulnerabilities are never identified as really falling in the same ballpark, but can have just as tragic stories.
And how much of the suicide issue has to do with you're past the glory, you're not in front of a crowd, you're not on the road with the boys, maybe you have a job that you feel is beneath you. Like I was saying on the radio the other day, my dad was an all-city basketball player, and he was like a big star in his neighborhood, in the community, and next thing you know, you're driving a cab and you're just another guy fighting to pay the bills. So how does this affect athletes?
All of that surely can make things worse. Now, is someone who otherwise is pretty stable going to kill themselves because of that? No. But can it add anywhere from, just to throw numbers out, 10 to 50%? Sure, and it depends on the individual and what their personal background is, and whether from day one they had a plan B, which surely isn't even encouraged in high school, let alone in the pros.
And on a lighter note, what do you think of that hat over there? What does that symbolize? Yeah, yeah.
I just have a giant head.
Yes.
It's a normal size hat.
Yeah, the head is too big, but the glasses are about right, though.
These are prescription. They were very expensive.
But seriously, along those lines, when somebody has a unique look, is that a cry for attention, or is that showing I'm an individual? Is it a plus or a negative or both?
It's
Depends
both.
on the person.
And if it's not
Depends on the
part
person.
if it's not part of who you really are on some level, it's going to come across as fake. So yeah, you need to, whether you're in the wrestling business, whether you're in any entertainment business, you need to bring out some of the craziness in yourself and own it and make use of it. And that way it won't get you in trouble. That hat's not going to hurt anyone.
That's right. That's right.
My
What about the glasses?
Yeah, maybe it'll
Glasses could be dangerous.
All right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I dress very extravagantly. These guys know this is certainly not my normal type of suit. It's much more flashy, and for me, it does build my character. To your point, for some people, it could be a self-confidence issue. It just depends on the person.
Yeah.
And I would like to real quick say, taking a step back, that depression is real, and it is something that's very real in our business, but it's also something that's very real in life. And there's a lot of people that don't believe in depression, and I'm glad for them that they're so mentally strong that they don't have to believe in it. But depression is very real and affects more people. We've all known people that have affected. And my recommendation to people is always pick up the phone this week and call somebody, anybody who you know who think might need it. Because I'll tell you, I'll admit this right here on TV, something I've never told anybody but my personal family. I have been personally hospitalized twice for depression-related issues, and I thank God every morning that I am still here. Every day that I wake up, I beat depression again. So it is a real issue, and I encourage anyone who's watching, anyone who's sitting here, to call a friend this week.
And Dave, how can they call you? How can they get in touch with you?
I can be reached through my website, www.dmrdynamics.com. dmrreese@gmail.com, or 858-204-8783. And without getting on my soapbox for real long, the mental health system these days is a disaster. Reach out for help, but if you go to someone who's going to give you a script and tell you to come back in 3 weeks or 3 months, tear up the script, find someone else who's going to talk to you. People need medication. I have nothing against medication, but if you don't go to someone who's going to talk to you, it's not going to work.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reese. Really honored to have you on.
My pleasure being here.
Okay. And when we come back, folks, Suzette Dorsey with the great Tina Turner review. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have 2 practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our 2 offices. Thank you.
I am Tom Mealy for the Harrison Law Group, and I have been telling you for years that getting involved in an automobile accident is no joke. This is what we do. We're not new at this game. If you've been involved in an accident of any kind, and you go to a law firm that says you have no case, it's simple. It's because they can't do it and they don't get it. You need to call us directly at 1-800-INJURY-LAW.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
Dad, where do babies come from?
Well, there's Dad's big, shiny rocket ship. That's right, it's filled with babies of all kinds. And when the shiny rocket ship penetrates, Mommy and Dad goes, and when the time is just right, there's a space launch.
All systems go.
Babies of all kinds, released all over the place. Yeah, Africa. Mommy's Babylandia. That's right, it's filled with babies. After an amazing 9 months, babies. And that, son, is where babies come from.
But Jake said babies come from
Planet Babylandia.
You go,
play with us on the bus.
Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
YesWeCare.net is a 501c3 charity that provides help to veterans and their families. Please visit YesWeCare.net and donate in any way you can by purchasing our beautiful framed prints or relaxation CDs and DVDs, even smooth jazz CDs. YesWeCare.net. Remember, our troops are on their way home. They need all the support they can get. YesWeCare.net.
All right, and we are back with Legends TV. And before we begin our next segment, I want to remind everybody that Brush with Danger, the new martial arts epic, premieres this Friday in New York at the Cinema Village, and then it's going to be shown worldwide, and our buddy Nikita Brezhnikov is in that one. So look for Brush with Danger this Friday at the Cinema Village. And without further ado, we have Ms. Suzette Dorsey with the Tina Turner Review, and introduce these beautiful ladies, please.
My lovely backing vocalist, Mrs. Pat Covington.
Hi.
And Ms. Marla Garcia.
How are you? How are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome to Legends TV, and tell us about the Tina Turner Review.
Well, first, I have to let everyone see I didn't have an entrance, but you see
There you go.
I am keeping up with
There you
it,
go.
okay?
Steve had the same outfit on the other day.
Oh,
yeah, I'd like that back, please, at the end of the show.
All right. Okay, we are a well-established, well over 12-year entity. There's 12 of us on stage, anywhere from 10 to 12. We have our 2 backing vocalists. We have 3 to 4 backing choreographed dancers who couldn't be with us today. And then
But we're going to see the video, though,
yes,
so we're going to get a taste of it. Yeah.
And you will see our 7-piece band as well. So we all travel together all over the country. I have been blessed to have had a 15-year international career with this show. So this show has been around a very long time.
You've
We've
played
maintained-
Vegas, and
Yes.
Branson, Missouri.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the highlights of your career doing this.
Well, as I said, I had an international career, which meant I had a British cast. So I
Wow.
would fly over into London and then meet up with the Brits, and we would travel the world from there. The stories are amazing, absolutely amazing. I am so grateful for this opportunity. We shut down Glasgow Airport once
Wow.
because it was so many of us coming in. It really could have been Tina and her entourage. So when we started in, various employees saw us coming, and they would leave their post. And then, word spread, oh, Tina Turner's here, Tina Turner's here. So everybody was rushing to get our autographs, so they had to whisk me off into a back room and get, make peace, calm, get everybody back to their stations. It's been a lot of things. I was in Germany window shopping with my girls, my dancers, and a lady walks up to me and says, I know who you are, but I won't say anything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no, I'm not who you think I am. Yes, I know who you are. I know who you are. And I was like, oh my, all right. Well, I don't like to, embarrass people. I don't like to burst their bubble.
Right.
So I just went along with it. But
Wow.
so many stories like that. It has been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
And when you look back at Tina's career, I remember her as an R&B singer back in the day with Ike Turner, of course. Which era do you appreciate the most?
Well, I'm a little young for the Ike era. Right. I know of it and I've seen it. But no, 1984, What's Love Got to Do with It, and on was major. I did see Tina visiting my cousin in college at the Warner Theater in D.C., and that would have been maybe 1980, something like that, 79, 80, and she was without Ike. And it was the Nice and Rough tour as we know it today, and it was off the hook. Off the hook. And I had very good seats. Back then, I could afford it. Very good seats. And she was mesmerizing. She was just electrifying.
I saw her at the Garden. She was great. Absolutely great.
And then I saw her 10 times after that. After, in the 90s and so forth.
Have you ever met Tina?
I have not. That has been very depressing for me. I have performed in places she's been performing. For instance, the Garden State Arts Center, it used to be at Exit 11. That I was there 3 weeks before she was. They gave me comp tickets. She was in but my dressing room, the dressing room I was in, but she wasn't receiving guests. She hasn't been receiving guests for many years. They just whisper off in her fur coat or whatever and take her to the hotel. So we were I was at what was known then as the Tweeter Center in Camden, New Jersey. I had to go in and get the comp tickets that I was given. The whole office ballistic because they thought I was Tina coming in to pick up tickets.
I have a funny Ike Turner story. He played Central Park Summer Stage, and you would have thought this guy was running for president. He was kissing babies, posing for pictures, signing mounts. He couldn't have been any nicer. This was after the movies, so I guess he had something to prove. Right. And ladies, tell us about being on the road. Do you ever think, I'd rather have a 9 to 5, something, steady, or do you just love the business?
Well, I do have a 9 to 5.
Oh, okay. So you have the best of both worlds.
I have the best of both worlds. That is true. I have been with Suzette for 5 years now.
Okay.
So it's been wonderful.
And same here. I mean, I'm actually retired from my 9 to 5, so I do a couple of other things. But this is by far the most fun, the most exciting thing that I do. Many times I'm on stage and I look over at her and go like, wow, like she's amazing, and I'm just thrilled to have the opportunity because I know there's so many other people.
A friend of mine played with Emmylou Harris, and he left the road to be a printer in New Jersey, and he just said steady, pension benefits. It's a juggling act. It's tough. It's tough. Steve was a teacher. He just retired.
Yeah, 38 years. Had a full head of hair when I started.
Those kids, really.
I'm the crazy one.
Well, the kids were the least of the problem, Evan. Right?
Yeah. So So tell us what's coming up. You have any tours, any big gigs?
Well, we are regrouping right now. As you know, we reunited with my, I guess it would be 25-year or more buddy, Rob Russin. And Rob and got me when I was just a mere child in the business, him and Stan Getz. And I did shows with them. We would tour a lot. And
Stan Getz?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
saxophone player. I saw
Yeah.
Stan. He used to play without a microphone sometimes.
Not the Stan Getz saxophone player, but
Oh.
Stan Getz does play sax. This is a Stan Getz. I know who you mean. He's
Yeah,
good.
oh, we're
He's
talking
very
about-
good. Yeah.
okay, okay.
No, we're talking about different Stan.
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
but he did. That's why I said yes inadvertently, because Stan does play sax, or did
okay,
in his
okay.
younger years. Yeah, he's the business side of it. You know, the
Right.
business
Oh, I
man.
gotcha,
He
I
stays
gotcha.
behind the scenes, and they were my management for many years in my early days. And then they both kind of left the business, various reasons, and they are back in the business now, and we are happily very reunited. So Rob Russin is the reason that we're here today, and he is guiding our career, if you will. So whatever Rob has in store for us, we'll be doing happily. And believe me, it will be exciting.
Yeah.
No, Rob is exciting.
Rob is an interesting guy. He also promotes boxing,
Yes.
and he has various projects. He's an interesting man.
Rob is the reason that my baby brother, Brad, is WrestleMania and now has his children into wrestling. Because
Okay.
when Rob first started with wrestling, he would give me tickets, and I would, take my little brother, and he was hooked, and ever since, Rob.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And give out any contact information where the viewers can keep in touch with you?
I guess on Facebook.
Our website, which is Tina Turner Review. Review is spelled REVUE, www.tinaturnerreview.com. We also have a Facebook page. If you look up Suzette Dorsey, Tina Turner Review, you'll find us on Facebook as well.
And do you have any solo projects outside of the review?
I actually play with a Filipino band. I play the keyboards as well.
Are you a boxing fan?
Oh, Pacquiao. Of course I am.
He's fighting a local guy, Chris Algieri.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Whenever we think of the Philippines, we think of Manny Pacquiao.
He's made us famous, for sure.
And there were a lot of good action movies back in the day from the Philippines. Still have
Oh,
a good cinema out there?
We still have. Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is show 2 of your videos, and this is going to give you a chance to do a little costume change, and when you come back, it's going to be live on stage at Legends TV. So we're honored to have you, and we thank Rob Russin for arranging this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to go to the videos. Tina Turner Review. Check it out, folks.
Think of them all. Just keep your mind on the money. Keeping yours on the wall. I'm your private dancer. I'm a dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. I'm just a private dancer. Dancer for money. And any music will do. When I make $1 million, I wanna live by the sea, have a husband, some children. I guess I want a family. All the men come in these places, and the men, they're all the same. You don't look at their faces, and you don't ask their name. If I'm a private dancer, I'm a dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. I'm just a private dancer, dancer for money. And any old music will do. think of them as human.
For nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of the Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Lano, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
Brooklyn, baby, don't forget the gravy. We are soldiers.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio. For nearly a decade, Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio has featured interviews with the greatest names in the arts and sports. Heard worldwide at legendsradio.net, the program has featured these great musical legends: Ray Manzarek of The Doors, Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Judy Collins, Roberta Flack, and many more. Stars from movies, TV, and comedy have included Jenny McCarthy, Wayne Brady, 30 Rock's Judah Friedlander, Shelley Berman, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, David Allen Greer, and Paul Mooney. Stars of pro wrestling and MMA include Bruno Sammartino, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Superstar Billy Graham, and Frank Shamrock. Co-hosted by renowned journalist Dr. Mike Lano, Legends Radio is heard Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are archived 24/7 with hundreds of hours of classic interviews. Legends Radio also features the best in indie music, showcasing talent deserving wider exposure.
Brooklyn, baby, don't forget the gravy. We are soldiers.
You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginsberg's Legends Radio.
YesWeCare.net is a 501c3 charity that provides help to veterans and their families. Please visit YesWeCare.net and donate in any way you can by purchasing our beautiful framed prints or relaxation CDs and DVDs, even smooth jazz CDs. YesWeCare.net. Remember, our troops are on their way home. They need all the support they can get. YesWeCare.net.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event of Legends Television. Performing for you live here, pop superstar and extraordinaire. Ladies and gentlemen, put a round of applause for Suzette Dorsey and the Tina Turner Review. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Got to do
you. Hi, everybody. Come on now. Are you ready for me? I'm ready for you, too. Gonna sing you this song. We want you to listen. When I was younger, so much younger than today, never needed anybody's help in any way. Now those days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind, I've opened up the doors. Help me if you can, 'cause I'm feeling down. Oh, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me. Now my life has changed in so many ways. My independence seems to vanish in the haze. Every now and then I'm not so self-assured. Oh, I find I need you like I never did before. So help me if you can, I'm feeling down. Oh, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Yeah, I'm just playing. Please help me. Yeah. When I was younger, so much younger than today, never needed anybody's help in any way. But now, those days have gone, and I'm not so self-assured. Oh, I find I've changed my mind. Now I've opened up the doors. So help me if you can, 'cause I'm feeling down. Oh, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Yeah, I'm gonna play. Please help me. Oh, won't you please, please help me. Yeah, please, please.
do because we love you. I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is alright with me. Let me be the one you come running to. I'll never be untrue. Let's stay together, loving you whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is alright with me. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. I want to share my whole life with you. Let me say that since we've been together, ooh, I'm loving you forever. It's all I need. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. I want to share my whole life with you. Let's stay together, loving you whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. Oh, yeah. Good or bad, happy or sad. Ooh. Tell me, why do people break up? Ooh, then turn around and make up. I just can't believe that you'd ever do
You are. You are. You are simply the best.